Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Always exciting to jump back in.
This time we're heading back into Brianna Wiest's The Mountain Is You,
Oh,
picking up where we left off.
I love it.
You know, last time we were talking about uncovering those mountains,
Right.
those challenges and patterns we kind of create for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and how they're often rooted in, like, our past experiences.
It was eye-opening, wasn't it?
Totally.
To connect those dots.
Absolutely. But, knowing is only half the battle, right?
Oh, for sure.
And that's what I'm excited about with chapters 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Because Wiest gets into some really practical strategies
Yeah?
for how to actually release those old patterns
Okay.
and step into a more empowered, version of ourselves.
It's like she shifts gears a bit from diagnosis to treatment.
Yeah.
Because okay, now that we know what it is,
Right.
here's what to do about it.
Here's the roadmap
Exactly, a roadmap.
to climb those mountains.
Instead of being stuck at base camp.
Exactly. And who doesn't love a good roadmap?
Right.
So chapter 5 is all about, building a new future,
Okay.
which sounds very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
But she makes this point
Yeah.
that I found really intriguing.
Okay.
She says a lot of us get so fixated on letting go of the past
Right.
that we kind of forget to focus on what we're actually moving towards.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's like driving a car while you're looking in the rearview mirror the whole time.
Yes.
You might avoid a few bumps,
Yeah.
but you're not going to get very far.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
So how do we shift our focus then
Mm-hmm.
from that rearview mirror to the open road ahead?
Well, Wiest has a technique.
Okay.
I think you'll like this one.
Okay.
Connecting with your future self.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
It's about using visualization
Okay.
to imagine your most powerful self.
Okay.
5, 10, 20 years down the road.
So picture yourself, like having achieved those big goals, living the life you really desire.
Yeah. But it goes deeper than just a vision board.
Okay.
It's about actively engaging with that future self.
Okay.
Like, have a conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, ask yourself, what decisions did my future self make to get here?
Mm.
What obstacles did they overcome?
Okay.
What advice would they offer me now?
So it's not just about seeing the end goal,
Right.
but understanding the journey that led there.
Exactly.
Almost like receiving mentorship from, like, the wisest version of yourself.
Yes, exactly. And by tapping into that wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
you can gain clarity
Yeah.
on the steps you need to take now
Wow.
to build that future.
Powerful.
Yeah, it's about aligning your present actions
Okay.
with your future aspirations.
So let's say I'm on board
Right.
with this whole future self concept.
Uh-huh.
I'm visualizing, I'm asking questions,
Yeah.
but those pesky fears and doubts,
Oh, I know those.
they still creep in, right? Those mountains we talked about?
Right.
How do I deal with those
Yeah.
while also trying to build this new future?
Well, that's a great question. And Wiest acknowledges this.
Okay.
She says, those fears, those mountains, they're not going to magically disappear overnight.
Right.
The world keeps spinning. Life keeps moving forward,
Yeah.
whether we're ready or not.
So it's not about waiting for those fears to just vanish.
Right.
It's about learning to move forward with them.
Precisely. It's about accepting that fear is a part of the human experience.
Okay.
Especially when you're stepping outside your comfort zone
Right.
and pursuing something new.
I remember there was this one phrase in the book
Yeah.
that she used.
Picture one.
The universe doesn't allow for perfection
Oh, yeah.
because growth requires those breaks and gaps. And that really hit home for me
I feel that.
because it's like we get so caught up
Yeah.
in this unattainable ideal of perfection
Right.
that we hold ourselves back from taking action.
Absolutely. It's a trap we all fall into. We think we need to have it all figured out.
Right.
Eliminate risk all uncertainty before we can even start.
Right.
But the truth is,
Yeah.
those imperfections, those gaps, that's where the real learning happens.
That's where the growth is.
Exactly.
It's like those Japanese kintsugi bowls,
Oh, yeah.
where they repair the broken pottery with gold.
Mm-hmm.
They're highlighting the cracks instead of hiding them.
I love that.
Right. And the imperfections become part of the beauty in the story.
That is a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And it ties right into Wiest's concept
Okay.
of self-mastery versus self-sabotage. True power comes from embracing both
Okay.
your strengths and your weaknesses.
Okay.
It's about radical honesty and self-acceptance, not delusion.
So it's not about pretending to be fearless
Right.
or pretending to have it all together.
Yeah.
It's about acknowledging those vulnerabilities and working with them,
Exactly.
not against them.
Yes. And that leads to another important point.
Okay.
Mental strength is a practice.
Right. Okay.
Not a fixed trait.
Okay.
It's something you cultivate over time.
So it's not like you're just born with it.
Right.
Or you're not.
It's like a muscle you can strengthen.
That's empowering.
Yes. Through training and practice.
Because it means we can all get better at it.
Absolutely. And in chapter 6,
Okay.
releasing the past,
Yeah.
Wiest gets into how we actually do that. Releasing.
Okay, this is where I need some guidance.
Okay.
Because releasing the past sounds great in theory,
Yeah.
but how do we actually do it?
That's the question, isn't it?
And I'm intrigued by that technique
Yeah.
of having a conversation with your younger self.
Right.
I've heard about inner child work,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not really sure how to approach it.
It is a powerful technique.
Okay.
And Wiest breaks it down.
Okay.
Imagine offering advice and reassurance
Okay.
to that younger version of you
Mm-hmm.
who went through whatever difficult experience
Right.
is now holding you back.
So it's about acknowledging that pain,
Yes.
validating those emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and then offering the wisdom and perspective you've gained since then.
Precisely.
Okay.
Imagine you're being the supportive friend or parent
Yeah.
that younger you needed back then.
Wow.
You can offer words of comfort,
Mm-hmm.
validation, and even guidance based on what you know now.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's about combining self-compassion with mentorship,
I love that.
almost like you're rewriting the narrative of that past experience with a more loving and supportive voice.
Exactly. And
Okay.
by doing that, you can begin to heal those old wounds
Right.
and shift those negative patterns that might have been holding you back.
But it's important to note
Yeah.
that releasing the past doesn't mean forgetting it.
Right, because those experiences are part of who we are.
Yeah.
Exactly. We carry those experiences with us,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about choosing not to be defined by them.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the impact
Yeah.
while also recognizing that we're not stuck in that past narrative.
And there's that one line,
Mm-hmm.
what isn't right for you will never remain in your life.
Oh, yeah.
So hopeful.
I do.
Because it implies that there's this natural process
Yeah.
of shedding and letting go
Mm-hmm.
that happens as we grow.
It connects to this idea of trusting the natural flow of life.
Yeah.
Things come and go.
Yeah.
We evolve, we change.
Yeah.
It's about surrendering to that process, not resisting it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Letting go of the need to control everything
Mm.
and trusting that the universe has a plan.
Even if we can't see it in the moment.
Ah,
Speaking of letting go,
okay.
there's another interesting section
Yeah.
about emotional validation.
Okay.
Wiest says, it's not about agreeing with someone's feelings,
Okay.
but simply acknowledging
Yeah.
that it's human to feel them.
Such an important point.
Especially today,
Yeah.
where there's so much pressure
To be positive
to be positive all the time.
all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Wiest reminds us that all emotions are valid,
Mm.
even the uncomfortable ones. And
Yes.
acknowledging them
Yeah.
in ourselves and others is the first step towards healing and growth.
So it's not about suppressing those difficult emotions.
Right.
It's about creating space for them,
Exactly.
allowing ourselves to feel them fully,
Yes.
and then moving through them.
Yes.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
That's a testament to Wiest.
Yeah,
She packs so much in.
she does.
Before we move on to chapter 7,
Okay.
what's one actionable step
Hmm.
our listeners could take today
Ooh, today.
based on what we've talked about?
Okay, let me think.
Something they could actually implement.
I would say give that visualization exercise a try
Okay.
with your future self.
Okay.
Carve out some quiet time,
Mm-hmm.
maybe light a candle, put on some calming music,
Okay.
and really connect with that image of
Yeah.
your most powerful self.
Yeah.
Ask for guidance,
Okay.
ask for advice,
Mm-hmm.
and be open to the insights that come through.
Like tapping into your own inner wisdom.
Yes, your own
Yeah.
personal oracle.
I love it.
The more you practice this, the stronger that connection becomes.
All right, listeners, are you ready for some serious mental strength training?
Let's do it.
Because chapter 7, from self-sabotage to self-mastery,
Oh, yeah.
this is where things get really interesting.
Can't wait. Chapter 7 dives deep into inner peace.
Okay, inner peace.
Now, you might be thinking,
All the chaos in life.
yeah, exactly. Good luck with that.
Right.
But Wiest presents it differently.
Okay, tell me more. I'm intrigued.
It's not something you force or manufacture,
Okay.
but a deep knowing, a connection to the truth that everything will ultimately be okay.
So it's not about pretending everything's perfect.
Right.
Or suppressing those difficult emotions.
No, it's more about accessing this deeper sense of trust and resilience.
So shifting from a place of fear and scarcity,
Yes.
where we're constantly reacting to a
Yeah.
place of abundance and resilience,
Yeah,
where we
scared.
can respond to challenges with more intention.
Yes, and it starts with our thoughts.
Remember that phrase, thoughts are suggestions, not facts.
Oh yeah, that one really stuck with me.
It changes everything.
It really does.
It means we don't have to believe every thought that pops into our head.
Right, we can choose which ones to engage with.
Yes, which ones to challenge, which ones to let go of.
They're like data points, not the ultimate truth.
Exactly.
Wow.
And we have the power to choose how we respond to that data.
That's incredible,
It is.
but also maybe a little daunting.
Yeah,
If our thoughts are so powerful,
right.
how do we cultivate more positive ones?
Well, Wiest talks about how mental strength is a practice, not a fixed trait.
Okay.
It's something you build through conscious effort and repetition.
So just like hitting the gym,
Yeah.
to build those biceps, we need to train our minds to cultivate resilience and mental strength.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
So what are some ways we can flex those mental muscles?
Let me think.
What kind of mental workout would you recommend?
Planning ahead. Taking those what ifs and turning them into action steps.
That's a good tip.
It can significantly reduce anxiety.
Yeah. It's like saying a goal without a plan is just a wish,
I love that.
but planning alone isn't always enough, right?
Right. What about those moments?
What about those moments when we're triggered
Yeah.
and those old patterns resurface,
You bring up a good point.
despite our best efforts?
And Wiest has an interesting perspective on triggers.
Yeah.
She sees them not as setbacks, but as signals,
Okay.
pointing us towards areas where we still need to heal and grow.
So instead of getting frustrated or ashamed when we're triggered,
Yeah.
we can use those moments as opportunities for deeper self-awareness.
Exactly. It's about asking, what's this trigger showing me?
Okay.
What wound needs attention? What limiting belief is being activated?
It's like those triggers are flashing neon signs.
I love that analogy.
See, hey, pay attention.
They're not the enemy. They're our teachers,
Right.
guiding us towards healing and transformation.
That's a really empowering way to reframe those challenging moments.
It is.
But let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not always easy to see it that way in the moment.
You're right. It takes practice and self-compassion,
Okay.
but the more we practice, the easier it becomes.
So we've talked about releasing the past,
Mm-hmm.
stepping into our power,
Yeah.
mastering our minds.
Right.
But what about happiness?
Oh, good one.
Where does that fit into all this?
Oh, right, because it feels like we're always chasing this elusive idea of happiness.
Yeah, and it always seems just out of reach.
And Wiest addresses this. She says, true happiness isn't found in the future. It's available right now in the present moment.
But how,
Yeah.
how do we cultivate that?
Well,
It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle,
the hustle.
always striving for what's next.
Yeah.
How do we actually experience happiness now?
Wiest suggests focusing on those little joys in everyday life,
Okay.
those simple pleasures that we often take for granted.
Like savoring a cup of coffee?
Yes.
Or appreciating a beautiful sunset?
Exactly. It's about shifting our attention from what we lack to what we already have.
It reminds me of that gratitude practice
No, yeah.
where you list things you're thankful for.
Gratitude is powerful.
It is.
And Wiest also emphasizes positive relationships,
Okay.
surrounding ourselves with people who lift us up.
Because as she puts it, the quality of our relationships directly affects our life experiences.
It's like we absorb the energy of the people we spend time with.
So true.
So choose your company wisely.
Yeah. And speaking of growth,
Yes,
Wiest reminds us that life is a continuous learning process
it is.
filled with challenges
Mhm.
that are actually opportunities
Opportunity
for transformation.
It's
It's like she says, everything can be your teacher.
true.
Even our mistakes, our setbacks.
Those moments we might label as failures
Yeah, they're all valuable lessons.
in disguise.
Reframing our perspective on those challenges.
Yeah.
Seeing them not as punishments, but as opportunities to learn and adapt.
Become more resilient.
Okay, but embracing that perspective,
I know.
it's not always easy.
Especially when we're in the thick of it.
So what's one takeaway for our listeners
Ooh, good question.
when they're facing a tough mountain?
Remember Wiest's words. At the end of your life, you will begin to see your mountains for what they really were, gifts.
Chills every time.
I know.
Puts things into perspective.
It does.
Those challenges we're facing now,
Mm-hmm.
they might seem overwhelming in the moment,
Right?
but they could very well be the things that lead us to our greatest breakthroughs.
Exactly.
And that ties into one of the key takeaways from Chapter 7.
Which is?
The shift from self-sabotage to self-mastery
Yes.
involves taking radical responsibility for our lives.
Yes. And that includes taking responsibility for how we respond to those challenges, those mountains we inevitably encounter.
Because, as Wiest says, your life is just beginning. That is the point of the mountain.
I love that.
So hopeful and empowering.
It is.
It's like she's saying, bring on the mountains, let's climb. So we've covered releasing the past, stepping into our power, and mastering our minds.
We have.
What are your final thoughts on these chapters? Before we wrap up today's deep dive, I feel like we've just been handed this incredible toolkit
I know.
for personal growth,
Yeah.
filled with all these practical strategies and mindset shifts that can really make a difference.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me how she weaves together those practical strategies with these like profound insights about the human experience.
Yes.
It's not just about like achieving success or happiness in a superficial sense,
right.
but like understanding the deeper meaning behind our struggles.
Yeah.
And using those challenges as fuel for growth.
It's about recognizing that we all have those inner mountains to climb.
We do.
And that it's the journey, the process of overcoming those obstacles that shapes us into the people we're meant to be, which is pretty amazing to think about. And it makes me think of that final quote from chapter 7.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of your life, you will begin to see your mountains for what they really were, gifts.
Chills every time.
It really does.
This puts things in perspective.
It does. Those challenges we're facing right now, they might seem overwhelming.
Yeah.
But they could be the things that lead us to those breakthroughs.
Exactly.
Our most profound transformations.
Precisely. And that's the ultimate message.
Yeah.
It's a call to action, an invitation to embrace the messy, imperfect journey of self-discovery and growth.
It's recognizing that we have the power
Yeah.
to overcome those patterns.
Right.
Step into our power. Create a life that aligns with our values.
Yes. So inspiring.
It makes you want to grab those metaphorical hiking boots.
I know.
And start climbing.
It does.
But remember, you don't have to climb alone.
Right.
There are resources.
Communities.
Yeah, communities, professionals.
Professional.
Who can offer support and guidance.
Absolutely. We all need support.
Especially with those bigger mountains.
Yes.
So if our listeners could take away just one thing from this deep dive,
okay,
what would it be?
I would say, remember this. You are capable of change.
Yes.
You are capable of creating the life you desire.
Okay.
It starts with releasing the past, embracing your power, and mastering your mind. And remember those mountains you're facing.
Yeah.
They might just be the greatest gifts you'll ever receive.
That is beautifully said.
Thank you.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive
Okay.
into Brianna Wiest's The Mountain Is You.
So good.
We hope you found these insights
Yeah.
as empowering and actionable as we did.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep climbing those mountains.
And remember, the view from the top is always worth it.